What's up? Welcome back to Out of Left Field. I'm your host, Abby Alonzo, and I just told her, but I am super excited for this episode. It's going to be a fun one. I feel it. Miss Sam Fischer, the manager of softball operations for the AUSL. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm equally as excited. So thanks for having me.
Oh, we're going to get into this because I told you, I actually think when I reached out, I said, I don't know if you recognize me, but I'm always in your TikTok comment
Yes.
section because your TikTok comment, like the content just, it pops up on my For You page, but I engage with all of it because it is incredible. It's incredible. We're
Thank
actually
you.
going to talk about that in a second.
Great.
But for people who only know you as maybe personnel, AUSL, kind of more pro vibes, what would your coworkers or players describe you as?
What a s-
Wait,
what
the
a
face.
strong start.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably the funny one. I feel like that's always the go-to is like, yeah, Sam's always good for a laugh. But on deeper terms, I would say like that the same Sam shows up every day. So just like consistent Sam. Like I know what I'm gonna get when I'm gonna spend time with Sam Fisher.
Oh, and what does that look like when you say consistent, Sam?
I'm just always happy. I'm either happy or I'm asleep. So that's pretty much how it goes.
Simple, but I love it. Okay,
Yeah.
I love that. You're obviously, what I just said, hilarious on TikTok, and you have a big personality. And I mean, I've never met you in person, but you can feel your energy through your content. Um, was your personality always that way, or was that something that kind of evolved?
That's a great question because I can remember being that like probably annoying little kid who was like, Sam, it's actually okay to shut up. It's actually okay every once in a while. Just sit down. So you know what? Go read a book. And so as you could see, I took them seriously and I started to read books. But no, I think I've always been probably more on the extroverted side of just like if and I feel very blessed and very lucky that I've been able to put myself in situations where I'm just happy where I am, like at the ball field, or I went to a great college, or my family is amazing. Like I just feel like I'm always in situations where it's like, what's there to be upset about? So I'm just always going to be happy and giggly.
Whoa. Okay. I kind of want to dive into that because
Let's
that's
do it.
a skill. That that's a skill though. Like not everyone is like that, especially with the way the world is now. Like feels
Yeah.
like there's always something to be worried about or something to be upset about. So how do you stay in that consistent, like happy, just present where you are?
I think there's a line in your life where there's things you can control, right? Obviously, there's things that
Mm.
happen in the world and the greater population that it's like I'm going to do my best to make a difference. But in my own day-to-day life, I want to be happy. I want to enjoy the time that I have with the people I'm with, or even if I'm alone, I want to enjoy my alone time and just trying to make the most out of what I'm given and what I'm kind of presented with. And then when the opportunity presents itself to do something bigger or talk about things that are heavier or whatever, I'll be fully charged to do that kind of thing.
Yeah. I feel like, at least from my perspective and all the athletes that I've spoken to in the AUSL specifically, there is a good energy, happy kind of vibe around the league. I could be totally wrong because I'm not in the rooms that everything is happening, but there's an energy that is attracting people to the sport and to the league. What do you think the importance is of those personalities and of that mindset and that energy for the growth of softball?
I think you find that if you've been in the softball world, you know that this is a long time coming. So I think people are just really happy to finally see, oh my gosh, this is the league. It's gonna happen. This is gonna be the one that sticks. We've had people involved for so long, and so many different people have tried to make it happen. It just hasn't happened. And so we're at a point now where like, we're living it. We're living in the grow the game time, right? Like all the times you talk about growing the game and leaving the game better than you found it, we're actually living it. All that accumulation is the AUSL. And so I feel that very strongly for those who are involved in the softball world prior. But then people who are being introduced to the AUSL or maybe just coming into the softball world are seeing like, oh wait, this is fun. This is a high level of talent. Like and just just the athletes are engaging, and there's just so many good pieces because I think internally and from like the foundation of what Athletes Unlimited is, it's just built on good people and putting the athlete first, and you can really feel that.
You've had your own professional career with the NPF, the AU. I mean, you hit the first home run. I found that out today. You've hit the first home run
Yes.
in Athletes
Yes.
Unlimited, which is sick. Actually, how was like, did you realize that you were a part of something bigger when you did that? Like,
It's so funny because at that point, when we had the inaugural season in 2020, I had already been out of college for 8 years, so I'd already played so much softball that I was like, okay, this is just another first game of the season. But then after the fact, when they like took the ball and they, said, oh, first, I went back and watched the broadcast, like first home run in league history. I was like, wait, that's cool. And going even beyond that of something historic is like being from a mid-major and being a small school
mm-hmm.
kid that came in a pro space and kind of put their name down in history for myself, but for everybody else in the same kind of path. That the more I thought about it, the more I realized like this was really, really big for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah, talk about that journey coming from a mid major to doing that and to being at the forefront of the AUSL. But like your name is all over the record books in mid major, like quite literally all over the place. But your journey and what it means to you to be such a vital part of what's happening in softball.
Abby, I still kind of sit back and I'm like, oh my God, this is my life. Like I can't believe it because I was still just that annoying little kid who was like, let's go to the field, let's play catch, like, and now we're here and I work for Kim Eng and like we talked about, the AUSL is just what it is. But I really think back to just putting myself in a position that I loved softball. I loved softball immediately. So how could I just continue to play? And so every chance I got, I said yes. I said yes to the MPF. I said yes to Japan. I said yes to AU. Like all the things that have come up has really just been driven from the love of the game. But also that love of the game drove me to practice and it drove me to do the extra work and it helped me to be continuously motivated and dedicated to the sport to where
Mm.
all that work you put in, it's inevitable. You're going to get a little bit better at your craft. So all of it is just wrapped into one. And I feel so lucky that at the times where it mattered, I performed and had tryouts where I made the USA team. And then from there, everything just kind of stumbled upon itself to lead me to a point where now I get to be working in this historic league and working for the players because of that path, because I have been in their shoes and maybe have been in shoes that nobody else had been in yet. So it's all just like a dream.
I love how you're just rattling off like your softball journey. I'm like, wait, that's iconic. Like, wait, hold on. But for the players now who are playing in the AUSL and maybe a little bit younger, fresh out of college and didn't have to do the, MPF overseas, and you're still piecing things together right now, but what do you wish they knew about how old professional softball was compared to where it is now?
I think it's a great question, and I will say there's players that I've mentioned. I'm like, you only know AU, you only know the pro experience of AU, and we're gonna get to a point where that's all anybody knows because the old gals are gonna retire, and it is so cool for them to only know this experience because it
Mm.
really is elevated. And I think back, I had a great experience in the NPF. I played for the Akron Racers and our general manager, Joey Arietta, she was just an angel. So she did everything she could for us. But, my first contract I signed was $5,900 for 3 months of like 50 games. So, and I remember thinking, Abby, I was like, joke's on you. I would do this for free. Like,
Actually got y'all.
I'm making almost six
You're paying
thousand
me?
dollars. Oh my gosh. So
Right?
just not really knowing where your equipment was going to come from every year, not knowing if you were going to have a place to play. I remember signing a 2-year contract for AU and thinking, I have a guarantee spot next year. What? I can sleep. So just being fed. And I remember the first season of AU and they gave us coins to do laundry at the hotel and I was like, oh my gosh. So just little things like that our players really will never have to think of. Those are some of the experiences where you're like, man, you had to scrape a little bit, and now they're
Yeah.
in a really awesome position.
And we're laughing about it because you have to laugh about it, but like truly
Yeah.
it's a testament to what y'all are building. And I've again had countless conversations, and the athletes are genuinely happy and have nothing but good things to say about the
Oh.
staff, about the league. And I think on the flip side, like, why is it so important to you guys that the players have a say and the players really help lead where this thing goes?
It's, who knows it better than the players? Like,
Mm,
this is their livelihood. This is like, the first time I threw a softball, I was 4. Like, so this is almost things that as much as you know how to breathe, as much as you know how to brush your hair. Like, there's just nobody who knows it better than the players. And so there's business decisions that make sense that maybe aren't the players, or there's, different, like,
right.
location and there's different things. But like, when it comes to your uniforms, the gear that you're using, the, travel schedule, like, even thinking about the MPF, like, you would fly somewhere and you would play that night. Like, we don't have that. The players are
Right.
like, we don't, that's actually not, we don't want to do that. That is actually not peak professional performance, is hopping off a plane and playing a professional game. Like, I'm not trying
Right.
to face Rachel Garcia with jet lag. Sorry. That's not great. So, so having that voice, and not just listening to them, but listening to them and putting it into action. That's the thing, is like,
Mm.
you could hear players all the time, but that's not the end of the conversation. It's, I hear you. Okay, how can I take this and then put it into action and change?
And you said it earlier, you're working with Kiming. Like you, the people you're around, I can't imagine what the rooms are like. But specific to you, what has your experience been, and what have you learned from a powerhouse of a woman?
Oh my God, what a great way to talk about her.
Oh,
She's so cool. And I like,
yes.
I've learned so much from her, both, I'm sure, her intentionally teaching me, and then both me just like watching her and just experiencing her, and observing her. She is incredibly thoughtful, and I think that that's really, really cool. Like, you can tell that she mulls over everything, and it doesn't matter who's talking, whose ideas it, she will listen. She treats everyone with respect, and she's incredibly thoughtful. So it's been, oh my God, watching her work, it's like, it's art. She's gonna, if she ever listened to this, she'll laugh at me and roll her eyes, but that's ultimately where you're like, okay, she gets it. But yeah, you can just tell, that she had to fight for everything that she has, and she never ever lost the drive. She never felt it. You just get the feeling that nobody could stop her. And
Mm.
it's really admirable, knowing that she was in rooms where she was the only woman, and she still, like, made it to the frickin' tippity top, and is choosing now to spend her time with us.
Yeah, I had one run in with her. I was lucky enough. I was at a game in Rosemont over the summer,
Oh my
and I had
gosh,
to catch a flight right after the game. So James, God bless James, he's
I
amazing.
love
Uh,
James.
he's great. He was like, just go put your suitcases over in this room. And I'm like, okay. So I'm going through the stadium with my suitcases. I open the door and it's Kim Eng and like 4 other people having a meeting. And I, like, my heart fell into my stomach. I was like, I'm so sorry. They told me to put the suitcase in here. And she giggled and she was like, hi. And I was like, I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't like this, like, nice,
Oh
just,
yeah,
like, and
yeah,
I think just having, again, somebody that is running this thing, who has the network, the experience, the badass energy, but also isn't unapproachable, even for some little
yes,
influencer that just stumbled into her meeting. Like, it's so cool to see, because of where softball is going and because of what it's needed for so long. And I think that's a big part of why it's exploding the way that it is. And when
yeah,
you look back on this past season, you guys put in some work. I feel like, again, I'm a content creator, so I try to keep up with what's going on in softball. I feel
yeah.
like every time I recorded one video of breaking news, something else happened. I'm like, damn, I can't keep up, guys.
Yeah.
But when you look back at this summer, what are you most proud of?
Mm, gosh, it's, I think we could have probably used an extra 6 months of planning and like getting things ready. So I'm really proud that my gosh, they told us about the AUSL in June of 2024, and we had opening day in June of 2025. So like it,
Holy.
yeah, so it happened very fast. And the way that we were able to sell out crowds, we had 100% of our draftees signed. That was huge. Getting that rookie class, like just seeing the growth and seeing, people show up. People were lining, I'm sure you saw lining up hours before gates opened to come into the games. Like we all know softball has been there. Like the product on the field has been there. The level
Hmm.
has, I mean, pro softball has been around, right? But just finally, I think I feel the most proud that it's like finally we're opening the doors and the windows for people to see what we've known all
Mm.
along, is that it's been
Yep.
here, we're here. Let's bring it to more people. And I love that we have new fans. I love that we have crossover fans from baseball. And just broadening our world is really, it's really we're in a moment.
MLB has done a pretty good job of obviously they have a vested interest. I would hope that they're posting on the socials, but
Yeah.
they're posting and they're airing things, and there's been a little backlash, from some baseball fans that are going to say
Hmm.
what they're going to say, where it's not
Hmm.
new, whatever. What do you want those people to know who are just quickly writing off softball because it's not baseball? What do you want them to know?
Honestly, it's so funny, and this would be one of those things that would piss him off too. Is like I still have yet to meet a man more competitive than me. Like like at the end of the day, at the end of my like it just is what it like. If you like competition and if you like high stakes, like who cares if it's a dude or if it's a girl? Like I watch these stories and I watch baseball and you hear like the gosh, this kid, he grew up and he was like, the last one picked when he was little, and then he worked really hard. I'm like, I could tell you the same story about plenty of our softball counterparts. Like, so if this interests you, you have the same thing on the softball side. So like there's always going to be trolls and there's always going to be haters. You could post like, I love ice cream, and people are like, no, cookies, and it's like
Right. Yeah.
actually it's time to close the internet.
Right.
But yeah, just that it just high stakes and high competition and high talent doesn't have a gender like at all.
Did you ever think when you were playing pro that it would get to this point that softball, like honestly, did you ever see it happening, and did you ever see yourself being so involved in it?
I I always hoped that it could get to a point, especially like going over and playing in Japan and making real money was a really, really that was a really cool couple of years of like, I'm just a softball player. I can give lessons if I
Yeah.
want, but not because I have to
Yep.
pay the bills. Like
Ooh.
yeah, that was when I finally was like, it probably hit me that I'm like, oh my gosh, doing this for a living, come on. But then once I started with Athletes Unlimited and saw like the treatment and the level and like the fact that there's a whole organization, like we have over 100 employees at AU full time, like it's a whole company. That's when I started to really maybe think and hope that it could be what it is now. But no, I've also very much like a present, like in the moment, like I'm in the grind and I'm like, if I get to be on the ball field, okay, cool. Like I wouldn't even take the time to think about what's next or what the future could look like. But joining AU, and I got to be one of the first members of the player executive committee, which we have. It's made up of 5 players, and it's like a bridge between the players and then the staff, and the league. And that's when I started to really see like, oh my gosh, this is something and this could be something. And but if you would have said like, Sam, this is going to be your job in the future, I'd be like, that's cute. Like I'm going to run a dog sanctuary. Like I don't know. But the like talking to Kim Eng on the phone every day was not on the bingo card for any realm in any
Yeah.
multiverse.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
what? That
I
I
know.
again, I can't imagine just that. That's insane. The
It's
rooms that you're
crazy.
in. I mean, you yourself. When you think about the transition from being a player to now in the front office and manager of softball operations, what was maybe the hardest part of transitioning out of being an athlete?
It's so good. I feel like I'm still in it. Like I feel like I'm still in the transition.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say like when season started last year and I wasn't lacing up, I'm always gonna miss playing softball. Like that never is gonna go away. I didn't retire because I wanted to stop playing softball. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so the hardest part was that I still have so many close friends that I'm like, okay, I have to like I gotta go let them do their thing. You know, if they want to go get ice cream with their teammates, that's not me anymore. So that was like a challenge in itself of like, okay, Sam, like is taking a step back, still spending time, but it's different. It's different when you're a teammate, you know, versus just a regular
Yeah.
real life friend. But I would say the transition went a lot better than I thought it was going to go. I thought I didn't cry, like I didn't, you know, they're just there were things that I thought I was going to be just like floating in the pool for like months, you know, just like who am
Distraught.
I? Yeah, what am I doing? But I retired in August and I started working for Kim in September. So like there actually wasn't a lot of time to like throw a little Sam little pity party, um but no, I think it helps that I felt so strongly in the timing of retiring that it couldn't have been written better. So that I think helped the transition a lot.
A lot of what the reason that I have this podcast is to grow the game, and I talk to, or we're talking to, the younger generation that now has athletes to look up to and be like, I can play professionally one day and be compensated correctly and taken care of. But a lot of people don't play past a certain point, and there's
Hmm.
that identity loss, or not even in just softball, but in sports in general. When you stop playing, you
Yeah.
lose a part of yourself. What advice would you give to young athletes who are moving on, or old athletes that are moving on to the next chapter?
Yeah, it's such a good question. And I feel like I'm still figuring out my answer because I very much, you know, it's like softball is what you do, it's not who you are. I'm like, actually,
Mm-hmm.
it is who I am.
Yeah,
Wait,
maybe a little.
no. Like if I do a DNA test, it's coming up 98% softball. Like
Mm-hmm.
so I would say that one thing that I feel like I've held really close is that just because it's done doesn't mean it didn't happen. Like it's still there. It's still with you. You're just not doing those things anymore. Like I can think back to everything I've learned from different people and different games and failures and successes and just part like the journey of being a softball player is the reason that I get to be living this next chapter. So that's what I would say to anybody who's transitioning is like that person is still alive in you. Like that chapter,
Mm,
it's not the classic closing of a chapter. Like it's still between all the lines of the new one. So I would say like it's an ending, but it's also not an ending in a way, you know?
right. Yep. When you
Yeah.
look back on your softball career, is there a moment that comes to mind that like is like a core memory for you, or like something that you hold close? I'm sure you're like, Abby,
Yeah.
really? Like I have 100 of those, but like just off rip, like something that just sticks with you all the
The,
time.
you know, the first thing that I thought of when you said that, because yeah, if you have a few hours, you know, but the first thing I thought of was when I graduated college in 2012. I made Team USA, and then 2013, I got cut from Team USA. And at that point, I had to sit and say, all right, well, I don't have college. I didn't make Team USA. Like, is this it?
Mm-hmm.
And had to reflect, like, okay, is this how my story ends? And realize, like, absolutely not. I'm going to do everything in my power to get back on that team, and then what happens from there, that's going to be my story, not getting cut. And so I man, I worked, I worked to a level that I hadn't worked before because I knew I was like, I can't keep doing the same thing. I have to level up. and
Right.
and and then I made it in 2014, and from there, like I think about that, it's 2026. Like that is so long ago that happened, but what a defining moment. Like so when you ask that question, that's the first thing that popped into my mind. Like that sticks out.
It's a relentless, like, I'm going to write my own story. I'm not going to let it
Yeah.
end on somebody else's terms. How
Yeah.
have you carried that mindset into where you are with the AUSL now?
Yeah, I think anybody who has played sports or softball, baseball in particular is like, you think you can hurt me? I fail 7 out of 10 times.
It's a game
Like,
of failure.
yeah. Have you ever been up with the bases loaded in the bottom of the seventh? Like, this is nothing. So I think those things, learning that of like you can't take something from me that I love. You can't take something
Oh,
from me that I care about. That's mine. That's mine mine. And so that I feel like I take in with me, and I feel like people who I work with, and the players, I think that there's if there's one thing they know is that I'm more passionate than anything about the work that I do, and the work that I get to do with them. Like, so at the end of the day, like that shines through, because no, I've proven it to myself that this is the love of my life, and it's mine. I'm protecting it.
You talked about passion and you talked about loving the game, and you have to love the game in order to continue to get to that level. You got to love it. It's a
Yeah.
grind and it's a game of failure. But who instilled a kind of that passion in you?
My dad, 100% my dad. The first time I threw a ball in the backyard at 4 years old, he was on the receiving end of it, you know? So I would say my parents, like my dad, definitely the sports side. My parents, I think they did a great job of letting me love and not trying to guide me in any certain way. It's like once my mom saw that I was going to be the filthy, dirty kid for the rest of my life, she's like, okay, it's going to be
Okay.
fine. It's okay. It's good. Just do your laundry, you know? So I don't know that they would have expected that this was going to be my life when I was a kid, but I think my parents, did such a good job of just letting me be myself and being like, all right, she's going to be the filthy kid. Let's just put a towel down in the car, and just let me grow that love on my own. But then my dad was like, he'd be like, you want to go practice? And he's told me this recently. He's like, you never one time said no. And that like, I don't remember when he asked me when I was 6. He remembers.
Right.
And so hearing that from him is like, yeah, that tracks.
When you talk about, your mom saying, gosh, she's going to be the messy kid, they're letting you be yourself. And
Yeah.
it seems like you've really stepped into that, and you know who you are. And again, it shows through your content, through your conversations. A lot of female athletes struggle with that. Just, having to wear multiple hats, being a female athlete in a sport that isn't all the way respected yet.
Mm,
um,
mm.
how do you encourage those athletes to be themselves on and off the field?
I think we live in such an interesting time, especially with social media. Like, I feel very lucky that I didn't have that as a young kid. But especially because I don't know what I would have been posting, like that would have been crazy. But I think one thing that has always been true to me is like, does this make me happy, or is someone telling me that this is what should be making me happy? And I think that is something that if people sat back and thought about it, that, because the influencing and the all the things that you see is like, should I want
Yep.
that? Like, I'll give you an
Yep.
example. My husband and I got married in the backyard, with like our family members, and we're like, we're gonna have a party. Let's just do it. We want to have I wanted the white dress day. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so we found this venue, and it was so beautiful, and it looked like everything else that you see on social media. And
Mm-hmm.
then the more we got into it, the more we're like, I don't know if this is what we want, because it's just something that we had seen that we should want.
Right.
And so, funny twist, the venue burnt down, and the way
Whoa.
I know.
If that wasn't a sign.
The way that
Wow.
we were so relieved, because it was becoming this wedding that was for everybody. Like, this
For
is not
you.
us. And so we ended up
Yep.
having a wedding a couple years later at a barn, like a party at a barn. And we had a donut wall and just all the things that were like, this is what makes us happy, not
Yep.
what everybody else is telling us should make us happy. So I think that's the best way to like figure out how to stay true to yourself.
And it's so simple. It's so simple. Just, does
Yeah,
this make me happy? Am I doing this because it makes me happy, or am I doing this because I think it should make me happy? And when you
exactly.
when you come back to that question, and it's simplified, and that's your inner being telling you exactly where to go.
Yeah.
You brought up social media, and we've been a little deep, so I want to lighten it up. But one of
Yeah.
my favorite series that you've been doing is things that should be legal in softball. And I saw some of the players started to chirp a little bit and chime in, do their own things. But off rip right now, give me your like top 5 things that should be illegal in softball.
I will stand by. I think 1 through 5 dynamic warm ups. Like, I realize it's funny because I ended my career on a pulled hamstring, but I
No.
did a dynamic warm up that day. So if I was going to pull it anyway, no, I I'm like, okay, it's time. Gotta go do the freaking high knees or the world's
This stupid,
greatest.
yep,
Ugh,
yep.
no. Dynamic warm-ups first and
That's number
foremost.
one.
I would say I have to stick with the healthy snacks in the dugout. I don't want them. Get rid of them. I
Fair.
like absolutely not. Give me chocolate or candy of some sort. Hot
Yeah.
dogs. Give me a hot dog in the dugout. I'm like most people's nightmare. Gosh, like trainers and strength and conditioning
I
coaches
was
are
gonna
like,
say,
get her
yeah,
out. Get her out of
terrible
here.
influence.
Yeah.
Shut your
And then
mouth.
and then finally, I would say, I think like as an infielder, and playing in Chicago, the high fly balls to the infield that like they start and it looks like it's at the catcher and then it ends up at third base and you're like, I don't want it.
Oh
I
God, I can only
swear.
imagine. In
Ugh.
Chicago too, with the wind. Oh
I
no.
I would be like, sis, see, you got it. I actually, that fly ball
I'm
is
out.
none of my business. Like, I'm not interested in that. So those top three, get rid of them. Done.
We need a leaderboard. That's incredible. Have you gotten any feedback from players that like absolutely agreed with you or were like, what are you talking about?
I saw Jada Coleman last week and she said, hey, so you know you are in the position to make these things illegal, right? And I was like, wait, let me call Kim right now. So
Wait, that's
2026, look out.
incredible.
Yeah,
You're
look out.
rewriting all of the rules. There's like unspoken no healthy snacks in the dugout on
Get rid of
posted
them.
on all the home. That's
Yep.
incredible. I love that that was her response. Like, hey, you're in the position to make these changes. You're complaining on
Yeah.
TikTok, but like you can
Use your
do it.
power. Yeah.
That I love it. Please don't stop the content.
Okay.
What's your? Please tell the viewers what your TikTok name is because I quite literally giggle every time you pop up.
I love it. I'm
What is
at
it?
Sam Fisher 52. And yeah, I don't know whatever comes up, I just be like, you know what? I'm going to record this and then post it with
I
a
love
crazy
it.
song.
We with a crazy song. We need more of that. And that's
Thank
actually
you.
I was joking. There was one day I was outside the dome and I was sitting in my car waiting to go inside to do some interviews and I'm doing the scrolling thing, and because I'm outside of the field in the dome, my algorithm is picking up all the softball content. I kid you not. I'm like, I have makeup on because I'm going to do an interview, but I was laughing so hard that I was crying. Like mascara was rolling because of the TikTok content that the players were making. And I was like, this is incredible. It's entertaining, but on another level, like these are professional athletes that are giving you a whole different side of them off the field. Like some of it, I was like, oh my God, this is what? Like
Yeah.
taboo, but love it.
Yeah.
And that's been one of the things that I tell people like who are asking about softball or like, why is this different and stuff. I'm like, the personalities in this
Oh,
league, they are not afraid to show them. They like it. You just fall in love with players because of it, and
oh
I
my
think
gosh. Yeah.
that's something that has really elevated the sport, and it's a big reason why it's exploding right now. Truly,
Oh yeah, it's like the accessibility of the players, but also it's like, you don't have to watch a whole Sports Center documentary to get to know a player. And that like how many times do you watch something and feel closer to that player and want to root for that player
yep,
more? It's like you have that when you open your TikTok app now. Like
yep.
it's right there to get to know these players.
And I think, and the AUSL being on board for that, like, I watched James sit down with Aubrey Leach and have a meeting with her about social media and what she was going to
Hmm.
post and everything. And it's the big, like, y'all are emphasizing who they are and celebrating it versus,
Hmm.
kind of putting it in a box and
Yeah.
like helping the players be themselves. It's the full package. I'm such an
And
advocate for the AUSL.
it's a great point too, because I remember when social media really started to, like hit its stride and take, people are really like gaining followers and
Mm-hmm.
views and all this stuff. And I can remember thinking like, I am I doing something wrong because I'm the funny one? Like I don't do the selfies and like I don't post a lot of workout
Yep.
videos or like things that I find I watch all the time. I like when my
Mm-hmm.
friends post a selfie, I'm double tapping the crap out of it. Like will
Hell
be the
yeah.
hype woman. But then I'm like, I don't feel comfortable doing that myself. And so I thought, oh no, but then realizing like you're saying, like, no, lean into who you are and lean into the things that you want to put out there. People are gonna notice if you post a selfie and you're uncomfortable about it. They're gonna notice and it's gonna be
Yep.
weird.
And they're going to let you know that they notice as well. So,
They're gonna be like,
but
Sam, what? Delete
yeah,
this.
it is. But it goes goes back to the question of, am I doing this because it's making me happy, or am I doing
Exactly.
it because I feel like that's what I'm supposed to do? I
Yep,
love that
exactly.
question. Noted, using in everyday life for sure.
I love it.
I've already
Good.
kept you for almost 40 minutes, so I'll
Oh
round
my
out with one
gosh.
more, but I know time
Okay.
is flying.
Hmm.
Um, would 12-year-old Sam believe where you are now?
You know what's funny is I've never heard the question posed that way. I've always heard like, what would you say to your younger self? Or what do you think like I've never heard it posed that way. And I think young Sam, like 12-year-old Sam, she's just happy. She's just happy to be here, man. Like if you told her you're like, hey, this is gonna be your life, she'd be like, okay. All right,
I like
cool. You know how to do spreadsheets? That's crazy. Like, so I think,
Excel?
yeah, I think she'd be freaking pumped, especially to know that like I left the game without leaving the game. That I think would be big to her
Mm,
because when she was 12, that was right at the time of like, wait, I think I'm getting better. Like I'm making all-star teams. Like that age was pivotal in like, oh, I could be good at this, like not just
yeah.
love it, but also like smash the ball a little bit. So I would say that she would be just fired up to still be in some way on the dirt.
Mm, mic drop. That was it. This was so. I feel like we like navigated really well. We went through the deep stuff and the funny
I
stuff and the real stuff. Like that was so fun.
Yeah, I could keep going. Like this was great. Thank you so much. Your questions are
We
great.
might. Thank you. We might have to do a part two. Are you in? Where are you? Where is the
I'm in
office located?
Arizona. Oh,
Oh,
everybody. So we're all I'm everybody's remote until season. So I'll be at spring training and then everywhere. So
oh, you'll be bouncing. We'll have to cross paths and do an in person. I think that would be
you've
fun.
got my number.
I got it. Well, I appreciate you for joining us. Out of left
Yes.
field, y'all, make sure you subscribe, like, share. Sam's story is awesome. She dropped a lot of good gems today. And again, I can't thank you enough for helping me grow the game.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for everything.